My wife and her mom left our son behind, and immediately regretted it. The bustle of early morning travelers filled the air, baggage rolling across the shiny airport floors, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafting through the terminal, and the electric buzz of excitement. Families laughed, children giggled, and couples held hands while checking their tickets, pointing to the planes through the towering windows. My son Noah stood beside me, gripping my hand tightly. He had been anticipating this family vacation for weeks. In his small backpack, he carried his favorite toys, a cuddly dinosaur, a coloring book, and a folded-up booklet about Hawaii. He had been flipping through it for days, eagerly listing all the sights he wanted to see. Across from me stood Sophia, his mother. She didn't look at me. She didn't hold my hand. Instead, her lips curled into a small, smug smile as she tapped away on her phone. Beside her stood Eleanor, the self-proclaimed queen of power. Even here in an airport, she carried herself like royalty, glancing over the crowd as if she were surveying peasants. As we approached the check-in counter, I handed over our boarding passes and passports, hoping for a smooth process. "I'm sorry, sir, but I don't see a ticket for your son," the agent said, frowning at the screen. My stomach twisted. I turned to Eleanor, expecting confusion, maybe even an apology. Instead, she smirked slowly, deliberately, and waved a dismissive hand. "Oh, we agreed that your child should stay behind. There were simply too many of us," she said, her tone light, casual, as if she wasn't dropping a bombshell in the middle of the airport, as if she wasn't abandoning her own grandchild without a second thought. I turned to Sophia, waiting for her to correct this, to tell me it was a misunderstanding. But she only laughed, linking arms with her mother, looking up at Eleanor with admiration, as if they were sharing an inside joke. "It's a trip for real family, after all," she murmured. The words hit me like a gut punch. Real family. Noah's small voice quivered beside me. "Dad, I want to go." His wide, innocent eyes welled with tears, his tiny fingers gripping my sleeve. I felt something stir inside me. Not rage, something colder. Eleanor sighed dramatically. "Don't be so sensitive." Sophia laughed again. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just reached down, took my son's hand, and turned around. No begging. No pleading. Behind me, I could hear their whispers about how dramatic I was being. They thought they had won. They thought this was over. They had no idea. Noah and I sat in the terminal, his small frame curled up beside me, still sniffing. His tiny backpack was clutched tightly in his lap, like it was the only thing holding him together. His voice was barely a whisper. "Dad, did I do something wrong?" My chest tightened. I knelt before him, gripping his small shoulders, looking him in the eye. "No, Noah, you did nothing wrong." His lower lip trembled. "Then why?" "This isn't about you," I said, steadying my voice. "It's about them." He deserved the truth. I took a deep breath. They don't know what real family is. But I do. And I made a silent vow. My son would never feel unwanted again. I pulled out my phone. Noah sniffled, looking up at me. "Who are you calling?" I smiled. "Someone who knows what real family is." 30 minutes later, we were on a flight, not to Hawaii but to Disney World. As my son's face lit up with pure, unfiltered joy, I felt something I hadn't in a long time. Freedom. Sophia thought she had control. She thought she could dictate who was worthy of being in her world. She thought she could laugh at my son's pain and walk away without consequence. She was wrong. Because this wasn't about revenge. This was about justice. And I was just getting started. As we touched down in Orlando, Noah's eyes widened at the palm trees swaying in the breeze, at the bright Disney banners lining the streets. "This is way better than Hawaii," he exclaimed, practically bouncing on his toes. I laughed. "Told you." The moment we stepped into the park, I knew I had made the right choice. Noah's sadness evaporated the second he spotted Mickey Mouse in the distance. "Dad, look," he gasped, tugging my hand. Before I could reply, he took off sprinting, his tiny backpack bouncing against his back, straight into Mickey's open arms. For the first time in weeks, he was smiling. And for the first time in years, I wasn't thinking about Sophia. I wasn't thinking about Eleanor. I wasn't thinking about the betrayal, the cruelty, or the injustice of it all. I was thinking about this moment. Because this was real family. As fireworks exploded above Cinderella's castle, Noah leaned against me, his head resting on my shoulder. "Dad." "Yeah, buddy. This is the best." I smiled, pressing a kiss to his hair. Yeah, it is. Because this wasn't just a vacation. It was a promise. A promise that my son would never feel unwanted again. that I would show him what real love looks like, that I would teach him to recognize those who take and those who give. And while Sophia was sipping expensive cocktails in a five-star resort, pretending to be happy for social media, she had already lost. Because real family isn't about money, luxury hotels, or Instagram likes. It's about moments like this, when a father holds his son under the stars, feeling his tiny heartbeat against his own. Later that night, as Noah slept soundly in the massive hotel bed, his plush dinosaur tucked under his arm, I knew. This was just the beginning. I sat by the window, gazing out at the Orlando skyline. I checked my phone. No messages from Sophia, no calls from Eleanor, not even an excuse. I exhaled slowly. This wasn't a revelation, it was a confirmation. They had chosen to leave their own child behind. They thought they had won, but karma was coming, and when it finally caught up with them, they wouldn't see it coming. While they curated their perfect filtered life, Noah and I were out here creating real memories. Memories filled with laughter, love, and true, undeniable happiness. And that was worth more than anything. The first innocent remarks under their posts revealed cracks in their illusion. Where's Noah? Didn't you guys take a family trip? Why isn't your hubby in any of these photographs? At first, the comments were subtle, a trickle, easy to ignore. Sophia undoubtedly rolled her eyes, brushing them off. Eleanor surely scoffed, waving a dismissive hand as if the people asking questions were beneath her. But the internet has a way of catching on. When people sense something strange, they start digging. And over the course of hours, that trickle transformed into a flood. But wait, Noah's not there? He's just a little kid. Hold on, why is your husband missing too? By the time Sophia woke up, the unease had set in. The next morning, her notifications were overflowing. Hundreds of comments, people asking, demanding answers. The more she ignored them, the worse it got. People weren't stupid. They saw she was dodging the subject, and that only intrigued them more. Her attempts at damage control were transparent. I knew exactly how she would respond. She would try to twist the narrative, make herself the victim. I could picture her right now, sitting by the pool at some luxury hotel in Hawaii, furiously typing a caption designed to make it all seem like an unfortunate misunderstanding. And sure enough, she did. Her next post was a selfie, her expression somewhat forced, her words meticulously crafted. Sometimes life throws unexpected challenges at us. We wanted a full family trip, but unfortunately, things didn't work out as planned. Noah is safe and happy with his dad, and we are making the most of this time together. Family means love, no matter where you are. Textbook manipulation. A carefully worded statement designed to shut down concerns while painting herself in the best possible light. But there was one problem: people weren't buying it. Instead of sympathy, her post generated outrage. So you just left your kid behind? Noah is safe and happy, but wasn't invited? That's messed up. You could have easily changed the ticket if you cared. Did your husband not go because of this? For the first time in her life, Sophia wasn't in control of the narrative. She had built her online presence around the illusion of being the perfect mother, wife, and daughter. But now, she wasn't the only one who saw through it. Worse, people were talking about it. Eleanor's reputation suffered too. She had spent decades cultivating a sophisticated image. Power and untouchability were everything to her. She was the woman who walked into a room and commanded respect, the matriarch, feared and admired in equal measure. But now she was just the grandmother who abandoned her own grandson. Her business associates, her socialite friends, they had seen the posts. They had read the comments. Her name, once synonymous with wealth and prestige, was now being whispered in a different tone. She abandoned her grandson? Is this really the type of woman we want to work with? If she treats her own family this way, how does she treat her clients? Eleanor had always prided herself on being respected. But the panicked call that followed was anything but dignified. My phone rang that afternoon. Sophia's name flashed on the screen. I let it ring once, twice, then answered. But I didn't speak first. Why are you doing this? Her voice was sharp with fury, but beneath it, I could hear something else. Panic. Doing what? I asked quietly, leaning back in my chair. You know what? She snapped. Everyone is attacking me online. Why are you letting this happen? I almost laughed. I'm not letting anything happen, Sophia. You did this to yourself. Silence. No argument. She knew I was right. I didn't expect this reaction, she muttered. I smirked. I know. You thought they'd just accept that you left your own son behind and move on. You're angry, she accused. No, Sophia. My voice turned cold. I was angry when you laughed at my son's suffering. When I saw him cry at that airport. Now I'm just watching you deal with the consequences. Her breath hitched. Please, she said softer now. Just say something online. Convince people it's not a big deal. They'll believe you. And there it was. The desperation. She didn't care about Noah's feelings. She didn't care about what she had done. She only cared about how it made her look. I exhaled slowly. You made your bed, Sophia. Now lie in it. She gasped. But I hung up. Sophia's carefully crafted illusion of a perfect life was unraveling, and she knew it. Instead of praise, she faced condemnation, mockery, indifference. And this was just the beginning. While she and Eleanor played pretend in Hawaii, they had no idea what was happening back home. No concept that their empire was already starting to crumble. And by the time they found out, it would be too late.